Hi guys, it's Joe here in Wolfman Fitness. Welcome to part one of this 5-part mini-series focusing on flexibility and mobility to help you get back into training after lockdown safely, reduce your risk of injury and keep things nice and mobile. Maybe even increase your flexibility over the next couple of weeks as you start to get back onto the field or start to get back into your gym or into high intensity classes. Certainly getting into higher volume training than you've probably been doing throughout lockdown. We need to give recovery and flexibility an extra little focus over the next few weeks to ensure that we don't break down with that added volume coming back in. Okay, this is part one. It's 10 minutes long. Okay, there's 5 parts, each just 10 minutes, slightly different focus. Okay, this first part we're going to kick off in around the hips. I'm going to jump straight into it here now. Just a couple of stretches. These are stretches that I use both personally and with clients here in classes as part of warm-ups, as part of cool downs, as part of bonus flexibility work. A couple of stretches that I've grown to appreciate over the number of years I've been training myself and people, and I hope that you find them useful as part of your recovery or training, or even just in the morning. You can flick this video on first thing in the morning. It's going to help loosen you up, have you feeling better for the day. Alright, so I'm just going to jump straight into it here now. You don't need any equipment for this first part. Okay, a mat is a little bonus for your knees, obviously. So 10 minutes, I'm going to try and keep it as close to as possible. Make sure you got your volume on. I'll be giving you a couple of instructions throughout. Obviously you'll be able to just copy me for most of it, but there will be a few instructions throughout to make sure that you don't fall too far behind. And like I said, it's going to be 10 minutes, you're done, go off and do whatever you're doing, and there'll be 4 more parts over the next couple of days. Okay, so getting straight in here, down into our half kneeling position, okay, of our world's greatest stretch. So what we want to see here is front foot firmly planted, your back knee as far back as you can get. So if this knee is still quite close to the front foot, I'm not going to get great stretches here. So I want to slide that back foot as far back as I can. Okay, to get my timer going. And we're starting off trying to get both elbows to the floor here, okay, inside our front foot. Alright, I'm going to spend a minute here now. And while I'm down here, you can see that I'm slightly moving, ever so slightly, from side to side, trying to find tightness here in this hamstring and groin area. Alright, so I might get a slightly different stretch to the right than I will to the left. Okay, so I'm just searching for that tightness. Doesn't have to be in the exact same spot for you to get benefit here. Ever so slightly moving left to right, front and back, drawing little circles. It's going to help you find tightness, okay, down this area, and you'll feel that better stretch. Just another 20 seconds or so before we swap this out. All the while I'm down here now, I'm going to focus on my breathing as well, staying as relaxed as possible. If I'm holding my breath, okay, I'll be getting quite uptight in my neck and my shoulders. Okay, I won't be able to relax as much and get as good a stretch as possible. So try and focus in on your breathing now while you hold all these stretches as well. Okay, that's roughly a minute. So you're going to come up onto your hands. I haven't moved my back knee there. I'm still down in this really deep half kneeling position. Okay, I'm going to push this knee away as far as I can. Open up that hip and balancing on this arm as heavy as I want. So about a minute here. You can see I'm letting my foot go onto its side. I'm not going to try and keep it planted. Allow it to go onto its side. And again, throughout the minute, a little movement, okay, is going to help you find slightly different stretches up towards the back of your hip. And even varying levels of resistance, okay, or pressure on that knee. A small bit of movement, okay, is going to help you find different stretches or different tightness, and you'll gradually be able to push that further away, further opening up that hip. Okay, again, relax your foot, let it go onto its side. Try and just be aware at all times of your posture, your lower back especially, that you're not rounding it or curling it too much. Okay, so I'm just keeping my chest and my chin up here throughout. Okay, and we're going to push through now on this. So I'm going to come up a little bit straighter. Again, my back knee is completely on its side. I'm going to open up this calf and ankle now by pushing forward as much as I can on the knee, but at all times I'm trying to keep my heel on the ground. Okay, so lean right into this. Okay, I'm going to move slightly left to right with the knee. Again, searching for tightness at all times, feeling it move slightly as I just point my knee outwards and inwards. All the time trying to push forward as far as possible. Closing that ankle, okay, joint as much as I can. And again, keeping this heel on the floor. If the heel lifts a lot, you're not going to get the greatest stretch, so keep that down there where you can. And again, at all times, I'm keeping that chest up, that decent posture, trying to really relax my breathing. And we're going to come up then out of that onto our knee. So pretty decent here. We're going to hit this hip flexor on the opposite side. We're reaching up as high as we can. Putting plenty of weight here now on this hand for balance. Reaching as high as I can. I'm going to look up at the ceiling. Start to feel this area here. Okay, hip flexor. Start to pull. Take a deep breath or two. And now try and tilt across your body in the opposite direction. Alright, so I'm going to hold that here now, taking a couple of deep breaths. I'm all the time looking up at my hand, reaching across my body as much as I can, feeling this coming from my quad into my hip flexor, right up into my stomach on this opposite side. And just a little bit further before we swap out. Okay. We're going to push back down to almost where we began, okay, in this half kneeling position with both hands on the floor. I'm going to grab my back foot now, okay, with my opposite hand. So, to get into the best position again, this back knee has to be as far back as possible. If it's right up forward, I'm not going to be able to reach back as much as I can, grab that foot and get a decent pull. So, slide that as far back as you can. Support yourself now with your other hand. If you look around at it, try and grab it. Now give it a pull and straighten back up again, looking forward. If you can't reach your hand, okay, you'd be able to do this by wrapping a band around your foot or something. You'd be able to lasso a band onto it, give it a pull, okay, to assist you. And now while I'm in this position, so everywhere is getting hit here, the hamstring on my front foot, the hip flexor and quad on my right side. And now as I start to turn a little bit, so I'm going to look to the left, I'm going to hold that for a couple of seconds, I'm going to turn and face forward. I'm feeling all sorts of different areas down on my right hip flexor here getting hit. Okay, so again, just relaxing, allowing yourself to relax. Taking those couple of breaths and letting them out slow. Again, if you're uptight, you're tensing, you're maybe a little bit uncomfortable, you're not going to allow your body to relax and sink deeper into the stretches. So it's important that you become aware of your breathing and what's going on in the rest of your body, relaxing your shoulders and your neck. So I'm going to hold this now just for another couple of seconds. We're probably coming up on our time on this side. Alright, going to let that go nice and easy. And we're going to swap out sides and we're getting back to the start. Okay, so just swap sides. Bring the other foot forward. Again, before we start, this knee has to be as far back as possible. So slide that back. And now we're trying to get both elbows to the floor. We're going to give it about a minute. And again, you're going to shimmy slightly. Okay. Forward and back and side to side, searching for that tightness, okay, predominantly this side, okay, the foot that's out in front, that hamstring, that groin, the back of the hip, everything's getting stretched nicely, the lower that you can get. So try and sink right down into it. And if you're really struggling, just bring your hands further away from your foot. So the closer to the elbow goes to the heel, the harder this is, the more intense the stretch. So start off out here, and then work your way in okay, as you progress. Okay, I'm going to give it another 30 seconds. Again, just allowing yourself to sink lower into it, that deep relaxed breathing. Little gentle movement side to side, forward and back, making those circles. Alright, we're coming up then, supporting ourselves, again not really moving that back knee, supporting yourself on your spare hand, we're pushing the knee as far away as we can. So the ankle's going to go onto the side, pushing this out, and again I'm going to spend a little bit of time face on and a little bit of time side on here. That little bit of movement is allowing me to find slightly different tightness. And when I find that tightness, I'll hold it for a second. I know I'm getting a decent stretch. And again, throughout, gently pushing that knee further away. That little bit of movement there, okay, is good. I can gradually push it a bit further away as I start to relax and sink into the stretch. Alright. So, relaxing out of that and pushing forward now. Again, the lower that my hips are here to the floor, the better the stretch. So that knee has to be as far back as possible. Now I'm putting plenty of weight on the knee, trying to push it as forward as possible. Again, trying to close this ankle, but only as long as I'm keeping my heel down on the ground. Don't let your heel lift like so, or you're not going to get a true stretch, okay? So heel stays down, pushing forward as far as I can, and now that little bit of movement, in and out, side to side. Looking for different tightness in my Achilles, up into my calf. Another short little hold here. And we're coming up then onto the back knee. And just readjusting for a second, making sure that you're nice and comfortable. Plenty of weight here for balance. And we're up as high as we can. So this one especially, it's important that you relax. If you're quite uptight, you won't be able to reach too high. We're not going to open up this hip fully. So as I'm reaching and looking up at my hand and taking those breaths, I'm letting them out slow. And now I'm going to tilt across my body. Start to lean. All the while just being aware that I'm not overarching my back, okay? So as I blow out each time, I'm actually squeezing my core. That's going to keep those ribs down, stop me from overarching my back in this position. Again, lean across your body a little bit further before we swap out. And relax, come out of it nice and easy. And to finish off, then again, we're down. Remember, we're looking to keep this knee as far back as possible. We're going to grab that foot with our opposite hand. Okay, so I'm going to look at it as I look across and grab. And now I'm going to spend a little bit of time face on. Okay, holding this, feeling the stretch right down here now. Front of my hip, going into my quad. A little bit of the groin as well. And as I move side on, I'm feeling a slightly different stretch. That's going more into my quad as I go side on. So throughout the last minute here, you're going to just swap from side on to front on, holding each position for a couple of seconds. And again, if you can't grab your foot here, you'd be able to lasso it, okay, or hold it with a band or a towel or something, okay? So you're still getting the guts of the stretch. Another couple of seconds, deep breath or two. and come out nice and easy. And that is us done. Okay, so that is part one. Like I said, we're just gone over 10-minute mark, but I suppose with a bit of chatting there, it's going to bring it a bit longer. Feeling nice and loose here now. That's a great little complex. Anyone that's looking to improve their squat, everything around the hip area there, okay, is after getting hit nicely. Like I said, you can do that in the morning. You can do it after your training. I wouldn't necessarily do all of that right beforehand, okay? But after training or in the morning or even at night going before bed, it's going to loosen up everything there nicely, open up your hips. And like I said, this purpose of this mini series is to give you that little extra focus on mobility and flexibility as you get back into higher volume training now, just to ensure we're lowering that risk of injury, okay, and recovering better so that we can keep up the training load. Okay, thanks very much for tuning in. As I said, there's 4 more parts to come. Okay, let's keep an eye out for those, and I hope you find these useful.